Well, you were the president of the United States, the most powerful guy in the world. And there must have been some moments of conflict between your conscience and the national interest of the U.S. So I wonder how you felt at that moment. Like, you have to put your national interest before your moral standard.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. I am very proud of the fact that I was able to serve for 8 years as President of the United States, and always felt as if I was able to maintain my own personal integrity and moral standards, and the people I was surrounded by in the White House also operated with great integrity. One of the things I'm most proud of is that we never had a scandal during my 8 years in office, which is unusual, not just in the United States, but I think everywhere. Yeah. But you're absolutely right that there are times where, when you're operating at the highest levels, particularly internationally, you are constantly weighing competing equities. So let's say that I'm working with a Middle Eastern country that has a bad human rights record but is an ally when it comes to defeating Al-Qaeda. And they are providing us intelligence that is preventing a terrorist attack. You do have to then make a determination in that particular instance, how much priority do I give to that assistance versus me putting pressure on them in terms of how they are dealing with, let's say, journalists in their own country or political dissidents. The way I resolve this is to think both in terms of short-term and long-term. If I'm dealing with a country like China, then obviously U.S.-Chinese relations encompasses a lot of different issues. And for us to get the Paris Agreement done, for example, and deal with climate change, we're the two largest carbon emitters, and we had to have a partnership. And I have to have a good working relationship with President Xi. That's the immediate interest that I have to work on. But I also have to recognize that we have competing values in some cases, and that it was important for me to continue to raise those issues whenever I met with a President Xi. And one thing that I did learn is that even if you can't always completely change what is happening in another country, what you can do is, by just raising the issue and shining a spotlight on it, if I'm in a meeting with a foreign leader and I say at the end of the meeting, you have 5 journalists who are imprisoned, and it's important for the United States that you treat them fairly and release them, that just by bringing that issue up, it could, at the margins, create an opening for better treatment of those journalists. So you get these small successes, and you hope that over time you're creating a new pattern on the international stage. And I think when the United States is silent completely on these issues, then I think that's bad for the international community generally.
So it's like we can never be perfect, but we can meet somewhere in the middle.
Well, we can be better, right? And I think that particularly when it comes to the international stage, one of the things that I try to emphasize is that even if we can't completely eliminate war or poverty or hunger or discrimination or the abuse of women, we can make it better. Mm-hmm. And over time, those small steps become real progress. You know, I think we can't do that alone, and the United States has to act with some humility, recognizing that we have our own problems at home and that we are imperfect. There were times where I would acknowledge America's imperfections on the world stage, and I would be criticized sometimes by conservative Republican leaders for apologizing for the United States. And in fact, I would explain, no, I'm not apologizing, I'm simply stating a reality, because if I can show that the United States has its own problems, but we are trying to improve, that, I think, gives me more credibility when I say to another country, you also have problems, but you also can improve.